Gender-based violence and femicide declared a national crisis in South Africa. Now what? While we have the world leaders huddled together in Joburg, can we have the African Union leaders as well come together and make a public statement and address the genocide that has overtaken some parts of Africa since the test of time? And will the declaration of a genocide for countries like Tigray, Palestine, Gaza, Ethiopia, Congo, to name a few, will that do anything for them? A genocide was officially declared for the Darfur region of Sudan in January of 2025, the United States of America. The second declaration in 2 decades. The first initial announcement was in the early 2000s due to the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, and its allied militia committing targeted ethnic cleansing and systematic sexual violence against the specific ethnic groups in the ongoing civil war in Sudan. How have the people of Sudan benefited from this declaration? The declaration helped increase international attention to the country and offer humanitarian and financial aid. The declaration has offered the people of Sudan some form of justice by recognizing the atrocities committed to them. The warring parties were financially sanctioned to destabilize their militia activities. 3.5 million refugees have migrated to different parts of the world to seek a better livelihood as refugees. Why the need to redeclare a crisis that is already underway? January 2025 redeclaration was necessary due to the different groups with different instigators and new perpetrators with deeply related historical roots. To what end will these crimes against humanity continue? And to what end will Africa have to continue to rely on foreign dignitaries to save her? When will Africa stand on her own, you ask? How much more time for the life of the African child to improve? Do we, Africans, really have leaders that have no humanity, that at whatever cost they will continue their agendas and conflicts, no matter the price? After 2 decades of political unrest, civil war, and atrocities, even with the 3.5 refugee migration of Sudan population, militias continue the unrest. Where on earth is the spirit of Ubuntu that Africa prides itself so much with? Where are we to go if Africa mistreats us so much? What has happened since 2020 when the South African government declared gender-based violence and femicide as a national crisis 5 years ago? What has happened since the National Strategic Plan, the NSF, for gender-based violence was signed in effect by the President of South Africa? What happened after 2022 when the President's Summit held an update on gender-based violence? What happened to holding responsible parties accountable to lack of implementation, or rather just not enough is being done? Is that you, Ms. Lydia Sindisiwe Chikanga, the Minister of Women and Youth and Persons with Disabilities? What have you delivered since June 2024 and that of your predecessors? South Africans have taken to social media to respond to the President's crisis declaration yet again 5 years later. South Africans are saying we have been there before and things have continued to worsen. Just last year in 2024, about 6,000 women and children died at the hands of their loved ones. The definition of gender-based violence. We need help to combat these crimes from even taking place in the first place. So what are we as South Africans asking for? South Africans are asking for a clear reset, an identification of the patterns carrying out these initiatives. We need an account of the funds allocated to this initiative. We need a public address and readout on the budget allocated to this plan and a detailed financial report. We need a report that shows progress since the implementation of the NSF. And we need the G20 committee to put together a list. Beyond accountability for the NSF implementation plan and execution, we are looking for public lessons learned. We need the government to rally and collaborate with the community and work together for change. We need international assistance in helping us coming up with a plan of action based on past successes from their countries. That is why they come together in the G20. We need help from them. We need timelines for planning and execution, as we have done through research by now. A 5-year review. We need a phased-out plan with clear deliverables on what is going to be delivered and by when. We need a project plan. We need to know who the project manager is and their team of resources. We need to know when the role of the PM is listed online. We need to know who these people are. Help is cheap, and we have heard enough. It's time for action. Let me know in the comments section if you would like me to do a summarized review of the previously documented gender-based violence plan of action by the South African government.